Singapore hunts for global rainmakers with new expat visa. World's first inhaled COVID vaccine approved in China. Ukraine helps European countries solve current energy crisis. The effect of exercise varies according to the time of day. India has one fatal crash every 4 minutes. Myanmar exiles plan to establish a new central bank. This Japanese man gets paid to do nothing. Iran sentences 2 women to death for corruption on Earth.
Hello, I'm Wade Lee. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It is Wednesday, September 7th, and here are your top stories. Singapore is overhauling visa rules that will allow foreigners earning a minimum of 30,000 Singapore dollars or $2,131 US per month to secure a 5-year work pass, with a provision to allow their dependents to seek employment. Singapore's Minister of Manpower, Tien See Leng, said Singapore won't limit the number of applicants for its newest work permit, as it seeks to burnish its appeal to the best minds globally. Singapore introduced the Overseas Network and Experts, or also known as ONE, pass last week to make it easier to hire expats.
Both businesses and talent are searching for safe and stable environments to invest, to live, and to work in.
The ONE Pass will take effect January 1st, referring to the efforts to attract leaders in fields across science, technology, engineering, and math, as well as finance, arts, culture, and sports. From New York to London, Tan said, "It is an offensive strategy for us. What we are really hoping to bring to Singapore are the Rainmakers. Boosting innovation and increasing productivity are key for Singapore as it seeks to raise manufacturing by 50% and annual exports to $712 billion by 2030.
China became the first country to approve a needle-free, inhaled version of a COVID-19 vaccine made by Tianjin-based CanSino Biologics. The company said in a statement to the Hong Kong Stock Exchange on Sunday that China's National Medical Products Administration approved CanSino's AD5 and COV for emergency use as a booster vaccine. CanSino said the inhaled version can stimulate cellular immunity and induce mucosal immunity to boost protection without intramuscular injection.
This is the first clinical trial containing data of COVID-19 vaccine by mucosal route.
The vaccine is the first in the world to undergo human testing and which has been used in China, Mexico, Pakistan, Malaysia, and Hungary after being rolled out in February 2021. The company said they are needle-free and can be self-administered, broadening their appeal to vaccine-hesitant people and potentially easing pressure on healthcare resources. CanSino's initial one-shot vaccine was found to be 66% effective in preventing COVID-19 symptoms and 91% effective against severe disease.
Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal told Bloomberg TV in an interview in Brussels that Ukraine is fulfilling all its gas transit obligations towards European customers despite the war, and could pump 5 times more than the current volume. Ukraine is also ready to boost electricity flow, even as its ability to export power hinges on whether the country can save the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. Shmyhal emphasized that Ukraine's allies should do their utmost to help end Russia's invasion as quickly as possible, because Moscow is willing to keep fighting for a long period.
The flow of Russian gas through Ukraine to the European Union was cut by about a quarter this week when Ukrainian gas company Naftogaz refused to take any gas from parts of the country occupied by the Russian army.
Shmyhal said that, "We understand that time will play on Russia's side, so we, all together with our allies, with our partners, should do our best to finish this war as soon as possible. Russia is interested to go for longer time, to take more time, which is a challenge for all of us." According to Shmyhal, Bloomberg reported that the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant has been using one of its production units for cooling after a power link to the country's energy system was cut off again on Monday.
Professor Julene Zerath, a biologist and a member of the Nobel Committee, found that early morning exercise caused a greater metabolic response than exercise at night. She said if you want to get laboratory mice to lose weight, persuade them to exercise in the early mornings, because this boosts the energy metabolism. The same effect has been observed in humans. The body burns more fat if you exercise when the metabolism is at full speed versus exercising when the body wants to sleep. And the study has also advanced knowledge on how exercise affects organs, including the heart, liver, and brain.
Essentially, the circadian rhythm makes it so that our body functions slightly differently during different parts of the day. As a result, the time of day we choose to do physical exercise can have a direct impact on our performance and what we get out of the workout.
Zerath said, all our cells have an internal clock that controls the transcription of thousands of genes related to metabolism. The hormones also fluctuate during the day, and this can affect the expression of genes, which in turn affects metabolism. This is why the time of day you exercise may differentially affect the metabolomic profile. She said exercise in the active phase of the circadian cycle produced a greater correlation between the metabolomic profile in the muscles and the liver, and this supports optimal glucose metabolism.
Bloomberg reported that the car accident over the weekend that killed Cyrus Mistry, scion of one of India's best-known business families, have reignited concerns about the poor state of India's roads, identified by the World Bank as the world's deadliest. The media said prior to the pandemic, there was one deadly road crash in India every 4 minutes, equal to 11% of all crash-related deaths globally, even though the South Asian nation accounts for just 1% of the world's vehicles.
The media said while India has built the world's second biggest road network spanning 5.89 million kilometers, its highways are often marred by shoddy construction and poor maintenance. Bloomberg reported that more than 2/3 of the nation's goods are transported through the nationwide road network in India, underscoring their economic importance. However, according to the Stanford Social Innovation Review in 2020, India reported more than 3.6 million road crashes with 1.3 million fatalities.
According to Bloomberg reports, Myanmar exiled ousted in a 2001 coup are pressing the U.S. Federal Reserve to endorse their bid to use $1 billion in funds frozen by the U.S. to back a digital currency and a plan to establish a new central bank. The exiled National Unity Government's Minister of Planning, Finance and Investment, Tieng Tong Nan, said, "We will use this as our foreign reserves when the central bank of NUG is established."
Naing said that the plan to issue digital currency against the frozen reserves as a more feasible alternative to asking the U.S. to free the cash entirely. He said, "We know perfectly well that the U.S. is not going to release it in the foreseeable future, but we are aiming at making use of these frozen assets virtually." Myanmar's Commerce Minister said this statement in a response to Bloomberg News queries that Myanmar's foreign reserves have improved a bit, compared to $6.04 billion recorded last October.
According to Reuters report, a 38-year-old Tokyo resident, Soji Morimoto, has what some would see as a dream job. He gets paid to do pretty much nothing. With charges of 10,000 yen or $71 an hour to accompany clients and simply exist as a companion, he supports his wife and child as the family's sole source of income. He said he sees about 1 or 2 clients a day. Before the pandemic, it was 3 or 4 a day. Before Morimoto found his true calling, he worked at a publishing company and was often chided for doing nothing.
The media reported, with a lanky build and average looks, Morimoto now boasts nearly 250,000 followers on Twitter, where he finds most his clients. Roughly 1/4 of them are repeat customers, including one who has hired him 270 times. He said that he has handled some 4,000 sessions in the past 4 years. His job has taken him to a park with a person who wanted to play on a seesaw. He has also beamed and waved through a train window at a complete stranger who wanted a send-off.
Iran's official IRNA news agency reported on Monday 2 women have been sentenced to death in Iran on charges of corruption on earth and human trafficking. Advocates and right groups took to social media to share pictures of the 2 women, saying they are LGBT right activists and are innocent. Under Iran's legal system, homosexual acts are subject to the death penalty. Western right groups have often criticized Iran for its treatment of LGBT issues.
IRNA news agency said, the sentenced have deceived and trafficked young women and girls out of the country by promising them educational and work opportunities, thus leading to the suicide of several of their victims. Reuters reported corruption on earth is a term Iranian authorities use to refer to a broad range of offenses, including those related to Islamic morals. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, described homosexuality as a part of moral deprivation widespread in Western civilization.
FUNDAY News will help sharpen your English skills while keeping you informed on current international events. Tune into our other FUNDAY programs to learn more about the world's most important topics in English. Click the link below now to join FUNDAY for free. I'm Wade Lee, your host, and I'll see you next time.